everybody, Jeff Hopper, and I'm back with Randy Wolff. We have a couple more sessions in our series, 4 Things That We Love. And when the world thinks of love, it often thinks of romantic love. And we get the opportunity to talk about that a little bit because we have been able to be married to some pretty special people. How long have you been married, Randy?
49 years this September.
49 years. 30 years for me this year, so if you add us together, we're almost an old man.
Right.
Yeah. You have a fun game that you like to play with people sometimes when they invite you somewhere. They've known you for a little while, and you'll say, well, that's good. Can I bring my first wife?
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Randy's really only been married once, but, boy,
That's
that catches him off guard, doesn't it?
That's right. She's always my first wife.
She's always your first wife, absolutely. In Proverbs 18, we read that he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. Give me a story of favor.
There's so many. I'm confused as there's so many, but her 70th birthday is coming up this week. And she will not see this until after her birthday, but I'm putting together a book of old photographs and some notes of encouragement from friends and family. And she received one from a young girl that worked at Wind River Ranch, where we served for 8 summers. And this girl was going through some turmoil. She was trying to seek a husband and didn't know which one to go with, and was asking my wife for advice. And she said, what is the secret to your marriage with Randy? What makes it special? And my wife just simply said, it's easy. He's my friend.
Wow.
And that helped her.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's hard sometimes to talk about marriage when your marriage is easy or your marriage is good. People have had difficulty in their marriage. You know, many of you watching may have had a difficulty in a marriage as you may be on a second or even a third marriage. Sometimes that happens before Jesus enters your life, and you just don't know how to sort things out when a relationship gets difficult. When Christ enters your life, you learn some of those things. You learn long suffering, because sometimes that's required, but you also learn a lot of other things that allow a marriage to hopefully take root and stay established through the years. But one thing that I've learned is that it's also important not to hold back in talking about the blessing that you've received, because the scripture gives us ideal pictures all the time of what our lives should look like. We mess that up.
We do.
We're sinners and we mess that up. We're going to mess up parts of our marriage, but it keeps pointing us toward this is the best relationship. This is the way it should look. This is the way wives should look at husbands. This is the way husbands should look at wives. We know, for instance, that the picture of marriage that we're given through the relationship we have with our spouses is akin to the relationship Jesus has with his church. What does that mean for you?
Well, we've been studying this in our little life group, our Sunday school class at church, and we are talking about the scripture where it says, husbands, love your wives, and then the other is wives, and use the word submit. We don't really use that word in our little class. We were talking about substituting the word respect. But the man, if he does it right, if he really loves his wife, the response is going to be respect.
Right. Well, and in actuality, we're led into that passage by submit to one another, the whole body. So there's this respect that should happen all the time. I should be looking for the needs of the other person and submitting to their needs, really.
In fact, I just read something on the plane coming here about marriage, and it said, you know, one counselor was saying it's not a 50-50 proposition, it's a 100-100 proposition. We need to do our part right, each one of us. And we had a fairly easy marriage before we knew Jesus in our life. And then after that, I think it's just given us a foundation, a solid respect and love for one another, knowing that we have this in common.
Yeah. I feel a little bit guilty because we do these 5 or 6 minute sessions, and some of you would like 5 or 6 hours or a retreat of 5 or 6 days to talk about your marriage. But I do hope that this little window here where we've said, look, Scripture does say that finding a wife is a good thing and someone who does is blessed.
Right.
Scripture does say that a man and woman can grow up together as Christ has grown up with his church, so to speak, in this deepening, ever deepening relationship. So we really encourage you toward that. We have one more session, Randy.
Well, I'm looking forward to it,
All
Jeff.
right, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you.